6.1 billion pounds. That's the wider economic disruption UK weather inflicts on this country every single year, according to Parliament's own flood resilience report. Lost jobs, damaged infrastructure, broken supply chains, every year. 6.1 billion pounds a year in wider economic disruption. 159 rainy days a year. And 57% of British workers who admit bad weather makes them reconsider even leaving the house for work. And yet, we're still caught off guard every single week. Last Tuesday, a woman in Leeds left the house without a coat because her app said partly cloudy. She got absolutely drenched walking to Waitrose. That woman is all of us, every single time. So stick with us to the end, because we're about to tell you exactly which city in the UK gets hit the hardest this week. And the answer is genuinely not what you'd expect. Right, let's get into it. Tuesday, the 12th of May 1st. And honestly, if you're anywhere in England today, you've landed the best day of the whole week. London and the southeast are pushing 16 to 17 degrees Celsius. Not scorching, but warm enough to bend the big coat and actually enjoy being outside for once. Rain chance today is just 20%, which for May in England is practically a gift. If you've been putting off a walk along the Thames or a trip to Hyde Park, today is your window. Up in Manchester, it's a similar story this morning, though keep an eye on that northwest horizon come late afternoon, because cloud cover is already rolling in from the Atlantic. Birmingham and the Midlands are sitting right in the middle. Milder than up north, slightly breezier than down south, holding that 20% rain chance through most of the day. Edinburgh is a different kettle of fish entirely. Scotland is already seeing heavy cloud and the odd shower pushing through, so if you're heading out up there today, layer up. Now, here's a number that changes everything for the rest of the week. Wednesday drops to 13 degrees Celsius. Rain chance jumps to 35%, and it stays that way through Thursday. The Met Office's Central England Temperature Series, the longest instrumental climate record on the planet, running all the way back to 1659, confirms that May is the UK's most volatile month for temperature swings. And this Wednesday is shaping up to be textbook May chaos. Warm one hour, gray drizzle the next, particularly brutal across the Midlands and the north. Manchester on Wednesday, genuinely overcast all day. Not bucketing it down, but that persistent gray drizzle that makes your commute feel twice as long and your mood feel about half as good. Speaking of commutes, a 2026 survey from flexible workspace provider Arega found that 57% of UK workers admit rain makes them reconsider heading into the office entirely. So Wednesday morning on the M25, already a car park. Wednesday on the tube, wetter, slower, more crowded. You've been warned, plan accordingly. Cardiff gets a special mention here. Met Office data analysis ranks it the UK's wettest major city, averaging 96 millimeters of rainfall per month. Wednesday in Cardiff is honestly just a normal Tuesday. Thursday the 14th, still 35% rain chance, still hovering 12 to 13 degrees Celsius, still that same uninvited guest feeling hanging over most of the country. Yorkshire, Leeds, Sheffield, the whole lot. Thursday is the day you absolutely need a waterproof in the bag. Light one is fine, but don't gamble on it'll probably be all right. Bristol in the southwest gets slightly luckier on Thursday. Atlantic rain bands tend to drop their load before they reach you, so showers should stay brief and patchy. Newcastle in the northeast, though, persistent cloud all Thursday afternoon, temperatures dipping to around 11 degrees Celsius. A proper layer up there is not optional, it's essential. And here's something genuinely wild that puts all of this in perspective. Research from Manchester Metropolitan University found a 1 degree Celsius rise in summer temperatures cuts UK economic growth by 2.4%. Too warm and productivity tanks. Too gray and half the workforce won't get out of bed. Britain has somehow built its entire economy around the world's most unreliable weather. Propamental, innit? Now, Friday the 15th of May. This is the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's a real one. Rain chance drops to 25%, cloud cover starts breaking up across central and southern England, and by mid-afternoon, London could actually see some brightness. Not blazing sunshine, let's not get carried away, but that lovely, soft, golden light you get when cloud thins out over the city. The kind that makes you remember why summer in England is actually worth it. Cambridge and East Anglia should have a decent Friday afternoon. They're typically the driest corner of England anyway, so when pressure eases off, they feel it first. Southampton and the South Coast. Friday is a good shout for the seafront. Coastal areas catch that extra brightness when low pressure lifts, so end the week outside if you're down there. Right, before we get into the full city breakdown, remember that city we said would surprise you? We'll get to it in just a minute. But first, Glasgow. Glasgow is living in a completely different weather reality to Brighton this week. Scotland's central belt gets more frequent showers all week long, with temperatures running 3 to 4 degrees Celsius colder than London. Liverpool. West Coast life means you're catching Atlantic fronts before anyone else does. Midweek rain chance is realistically closer to 40 to 45% in practice for Scousers. Brolly. Non-negotiable. La. Nottingham and Leicester, smack in the middle of England, get a bit of everything. Not the wettest, not the driest. Just that reliably chaotic Middle England week that could genuinely go either way. Cornwall sticks out into the Atlantic in a way that means fronts that have barely weakened hammer it first. Mild temperatures, yes, but some of the most dramatic weather swings in the country. England, the driest of the 4 UK nations, still recorded 1,045 millimeters of rainfall in 2023 alone, according to Statista. That's not a drought statistic. That's England on a good year. Wales smashed that with 1,680 millimeters in the same year. So the next time someone in Cardiff complains about the rain, just quietly remind them they live in the UK's wettest major city. Then run. Now, British weather is the great social equalizer. There's a reason it's the default conversation opener on the tube, in the pub, at the checkout. Nobody is immune. Nobody is ever prepared enough. Psychology research backs this up. Shared weather experiences create genuine social bonds that sunny weather simply doesn't trigger. Britain's miserable climate is, weirdly, one of its biggest cultural exports. Quick summary before the deep dive. Tuesday is your golden day. Wednesday to Thursday are gray and unsettled. Friday gives you a proper recovery, so plan your week around those bookends. If you've got a barbecue, a park run, a market stall, or a day out at someone's gaff, Tuesday afternoon is your best shot. Friday afternoon is your backup. Wednesday is for staying indoors. Keep the layers on through midweek. Never trust a dry morning in May without checking the forecast. And do not, I repeat, do not put the brolly away just because it was sunny yesterday. Right, city deep dive time. And this is where it gets properly interesting, because the weather story this week is wildly different depending on which postcode you wake up in. Take Oxford, a city obsessed with cycling. Wednesday's drizzle will empty the bike lanes completely and absolutely ram the buses. If you cycle to work in Oxford, Tuesday is your last chance for a dry ride until the weekend. Durham is one of England's most underrated cities. And here's a hot take. The gray midweek cloud actually suits it. The medieval cathedral looks genuinely dramatic in low cloud. Wednesday might be the best day to visit, not the worst. Bath and the Cotswolds will be heaving with tourists on Tuesday. Roman baths, the villages, all of it absolutely rammed. But Wednesday? Quieter queues, cozier pubs, Georgian stonework in the rain. That's the move. Now, Brighton on Tuesday is going to be one of the best spots in the entire country. South Downs sheltering from the north, mid-teens temperatures, 20% rain chance. Seafront walk is genuinely on. By Wednesday, the sea breeze turns and coastal wind chill makes it feel a few degrees colder than the stated temperature, a detail weather apps almost never show you, but it matters when you're on the seafront. Scarborough, on the North Yorkshire coast, is a brilliant town. But that North Sea exposure makes midweek weather feel sharper and more changeable than anywhere inland. Dress warmer than the forecast suggests. And the Lake District, where a 35% rain chance doesn't feel like a statistic so much as a lifestyle. Tuesday, though, is genuinely special up there. Visibility to the fells is outstanding. If you're planning Helvellyn or Scafell Pike, Tuesday is your day. Clear enough to actually see where you're going. You'd be a proper muppet to leave it to Wednesday. Trust us on that one. Wednesday in the lakes. Mountains disappear into low cloud. Paths go muddy. Tea rooms do a roaring trade. Which is, honestly, peak Lake District energy. Lean into it. Order the scones. Now, Here's the stat that blew our minds. Scotland's Cairngorms sees snow or sleet fall on 38.1 days per year on average. That's over a full calendar month of wintry precipitation in Scotland in any year. No snow expected this week, obviously, but Cairngorms altitude in May can still drop well below what Inverness or Aberdeen records. Any hill walkers heading up there need to pack for winter, genuinely. Inverness, sheltered by the Great Glen, actually stays fairly dry on Tuesday, but Wednesday sees Atlantic fronts pushing through the Highlands with real purpose. The Highland weather does not mess about. Loch Ness tip. The gray misty midweek won't help you spot the monster any more clearly, but it does make for absolutely cracking moody photographs. Every cloud and all that. Right. Transport. Because British weather and public transport have a complicated relationship that deserves its own documentary, honestly. Tuesday commutes across the country. Smoother, calmer, more civilized. Lower rain chance means more people cycling, fewer cars, less overcrowding on platforms. Savor it. It won't last. Wednesday morning. M25 turns into a car park before 7 a.m. Tubes get wetter and more crowded. Buses run late. This is exactly what the Orega research predicted. 57% of workers reconsidering the commute becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Friday, conditions ease, fewer people switch from bike to car, networks run smoother. The weekly weather rhythm is this predictable, and yet somehow it still catches everyone off guard every single time. On the broader picture, the Royal Meteorological Society confirmed 2024 was the UK's warmest May on record, driven partly by a marine heat wave around the British Isles throughout the month. Met Office Chief Scientist Professor Stephen Belcher has said clearly the UK is experiencing more severe weather events because of climate change. Not just hotter summers, but more intense storms and less predictable rainfall. This week's forecast is standard mid-May. But the baseline is shifting. The extremes are becoming more common. And the Met Office has records going back to 1884 that prove it, year by year. Right, the city-by-city speed round. Quick and clean, no messing about. London, best day Tuesday. Brolly from Wednesday, brightness returning Friday afternoon. Temperatures 13 to 17 degrees Celsius across the week. Best of a mixed bunch. Manchester, overcast midweek, light showers Wednesday and Thursday, Tuesday and Friday are your good days. Waterproof in the bag all week, that's just Mancunian common sense. Birmingham, 1 degree cooler than London, same pattern. Tuesday is the outdoor window. Wednesday and Thursday, stay close to cover if you can help it. Edinburgh, cloudier all week than anywhere in England. Showers more frequent, temperatures lower. Tuesday gives you the best shot at Arthur's Seat or the Royal Mile, but pack properly regardless. Cardiff, the 35% midweek rain chance is genuinely just a normal day. You already know this. Waterproof's on, head up, crack on. And we mean that with absolute respect. Bristol, sheltered enough to dodge the worst of it. Friday looks decent. Good week for Clifton Suspension Bridge or Harborside on the bookend days. Give the midweek a miss. Leeds, properly gray Wednesday and Thursday. Tuesday and Friday are your better bets for Roundhay Park or the city center. Plan around the bookends. Liverpool. West Coast means you catch it first. Realistic midweek rain chance is 40 to 45%. The brolly is not a suggestion law, it's a lifestyle. And now, the city we promised at the start. The one that gets hit the worst this week. And it's not Manchester. It's not Cardiff. It's not even Glasgow. It's Fort William, sitting at the foot of Ben Nevis, catching the full force of every Atlantic front without any shelter, with average annual rainfall of over 2,000 millimeters and a midweek forecast that is genuinely relentless. Fort William gets over 250 wet days a year. For context, London gets around 106 days with 1 millimeter or more of rain. That's more than twice the difference. And this week, Fort William is catching every single one of those Atlantic fronts head on. So next time you're moaning about a bit of drizzle in Birmingham, just remember there are people in Fort William who genuinely consider 20 millimeters of rain a dry day. Bit of perspective for you. Right, before we go, we genuinely want to know something from you because it shapes everything we make on this channel. Drop a comment. Are you in London, Manchester, Edinburgh, Cardiff, Fort William, or somewhere else entirely? And tell us, do you want city-by-city deep dives, travel and event planning forecasts, or something else? Are you more bothered about the weekend forecast, or is the weekday commute what actually matters to you day to day? Your answers genuinely change what we cover next. We read every single one. Some of you have been asking about the bank holiday weekend forecast. Others want the summer outlook from the Met Office. Tell us which one to do first, and we'll get on it. If you want straight-talking UK weather content backed by real Met Office data and peer-reviewed research, not just vibes and guesswork, hit subscribe and you'll get every forecast the moment it drops. Before we close, let's talk about something the standard forecast never covers: what this week's weather actually means for your mental health. Tuesday's warmth and light genuinely matters. Psychology research consistently shows that increased daylight exposure links directly to measurable mood improvements, even from short bursts of time spent outside. So Tuesday isn't just a logistical window for your barbecue. It's genuinely the day to get outside, get some light, and front-load your week with something that costs you nothing. The gray Wednesday to Thursday stretch is real, though. If you struggle with mood and low-light conditions, plan something indoors that you actually enjoy. Don't just sit at home watching the rain and spiraling. And Friday's recovery isn't just weather. It's a genuine psychological shift going into the weekend. Brighter afternoons, slightly warmer, and that collective British sigh of relief when the sun reappears. Now, a few cities we haven't covered yet. Nottingham on Tuesday is a solid day to get out to the city center or Wallerton Park. Wednesday through Thursday, keep it indoors. Southampton and Portsmouth on the south coast follow that Friday recovery pattern strongly. By mid-afternoon Friday, coastal clarity typically arrives before it reaches London. Good end-of-week energy down there. Sheffield, the city of hills and steel, gets hit differently by Atlantic weather than Leeds does, despite being barely 30 miles apart. The topography funnels rain in from the west. Wednesday will feel wetter there than the numbers suggest. Exeter and Plymouth in the southwest are the wild card cities this week. Tuesday lovely, Wednesday uncertain, Friday potentially brilliant. The southwest coast gets sunshine gaps that don't show up on regional forecasts. And Aberdeen, Scotland's Granite City, sits far enough north and east that it's actually slightly sheltered from the worst of the Atlantic fronts. It ends up drier than Glasgow most weeks, despite the reputation. This week included. One last thing we're saying. The UK's weather obsession isn't just small talk. It's deeply embedded in the national identity, in planning, in architecture, in what we build, how we dress, where we holiday. 159 rainy days a year have shaped this country more profoundly than most people ever stop to think about. From the pub culture to the window boxes, from the waterproof industry to the caravan parks. It's the one thing that genuinely unites every corner of this country, from Fort William to Folkestone, from Carlisle to Cowes. And this week, as always, it has something different in store for all of us.